incredible.
There's a lot going on at that time too, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of good gyms.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Yanagida Podcast Show, episode 46. We got 3 special guests again. This is incredible. They're back-to-back, full house. We got Jessica McLin. We got Boogeyman, Muay Thai, Coach Marv. And then we got Rilley, the perfect storm. Dang. Dude, welcome to the show, guys. This is exciting.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. So, like, were you guys all, like, born and raised Maui, or what's your guys' background?
2 out of 3.
Hey,
Half of us were.
There we go.
Yeah, I was born Maui, and I was raised in Waianae, in Oahu. And then I moved back just recently. So,
Wow.
that's my story with that. She was born
I was born in Alaska. But
Alaska?
yeah, I grew up here. I moved here probably about 25 years ago.
Wow.
This is home. Grew up in the country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
There
this
we
is
go.
home. Yeah.
Dang.
Everyone's like, oh, what's Alaska like? I'm like, I don't know. I can't remember.
You don't remember?
What do you remember when you were 5?
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
much.
man.
It was cold.
It's cold.
hmm
Long days and nights.
Yeah.
Myself, born and raised here in Maui. Lived all over the islands, but yep, Maui resident, born and raised. Tried it on. 33 years old. Here we go. We still here.
You know, I just want to just say something about you, Rilley. Like, from the first time I met you, I was like, because I only know Joe, and that's why I went to the nest, and I was like, oh, I think I'm at the right place. And actually, it was Sumiko I met first, and I was like, oh, everyone's kind of nice over here. Everyone's saying hi to me, you know, everyone. And then you came up, and you're like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And everyone's so nice, and even today, like, you were hitting bag, and with the other arm, I was like, bro, this guy is dedicated. No, I want to hit some bag first before I go. I said, bro, this guy just
Gotta see where I'm at, you know, what I
Oh my
can push
God.
still, you know.
Yeah, he's a
That's
G.
what's in me, man.
He's a G, yeah.
Like you said, you met Sumiko first. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like you meet Sumiko, then you meet Rilley. You meet 2 of the nicest people in the game.
Oh, very true,
You know,
though.
that's the vibe too. We try to represent in our gym, you know.
Yeah.
You know, be welcoming, and,
Mhm.
and therefore you get more training partners, and you know, just the environment's just awesome for training, you know. So that's what we try to give off in there. So I'm glad you feel that way, you know.
Yeah. Even Rush too. He was super nice. And
Yeah.
actually, it was a mutual friend, Vincent, who also came on
Oh
a couple months ago. He was like telling me about you, and then we met right back to back
Yeah.
between
We overlap on
sessions.
Thursdays.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
you popped up, and then he was talking about I'm gonna go help Rilley spar. I said,
That's
whoa,
right.
Rilley's so small.
It's
Yeah.
very small,
I
yeah,
was
very
like,
small.
dang. So how do you guys know Vince?
Just through the fight scene for
Fight
me.
scene,
and,
okay.
Yeah, he's just through fighting, you know, and then just interacting through, you know, Instagram, and then becoming somewhat friends, and
Yeah.
and then he's helped me out, you know, this last camp, you know, a lot of sparring, and just, you know, his knowledge coming at me, but pretty much through these guys.
Yeah,
you know?
same thing. Through the fight scene, and then Pololu, who's also a professional fighter up in Vegas. Shout out to the Tower Patch Kid.
Yeah,
But
he's always
yeah,
nice.
The Poi Pounder.
Yeah.
Poi Pounder.
He's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
representing us and representing
100.
himself 100%.
Yeah.
The right way, man.
For
So
sure.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, always. So that was through him, and also a mutual friend, Mitch Navarro, was another one. Who he's low key. He's a really good athlete, and if he started fighting, I could see him being very successful. But through him also. And,
Shout out to him too.
Yeah,
Sorry
shout
to
out
cut
to
you
him.
off, but
Yeah.
He helped me out a lot too in my last.
Oh yeah.
My last
Nice.
fights, you know, giving me sparring rounds. So
Big dog
shout out
Mitch.
to brother Mitch.
Yeah. So he was another one that we met through with Vinny. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Mariah also.
And Mariah too.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I met Mariah first before I met Vince.
Vinny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
Mariah. Just from working, and she used to work at Monkey Pod, and we have mutual friends, and yeah, we just kind of met being more so in the industry, and then it was like, oh, your boyfriend knows my boyfriend.
Mhm.
Yeah, sort of thing, and it's just kind of how we evolve in our friendships.
That's the reason why you say I'm always very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the fight scenes is even more smaller. You know.
Right.
You know, I mean, growing up in Hawaii, everybody knows how to scrap. Is like how we would like to say, but you know, when you're actually in the fight scene, you know, it is very small, and there's only a few people that actually do it for a living and you know, amateur wise. So it is very, very small.
There's a very few that are very passionate about it.
Is
basically what it is, you know. So, and those guys and girls are pretty connected here.
For sure.
We're such one small island, so that's cool that we can collab in that way, you know. Because as we know, the fight scene, gym scene, all that stuff can be very political.
No, 100%.
Politics needs to go. Everybody needs to just be one, you know.
Yeah,
Just
that would be
vibe
amazing.
one way, and that, you know, we're such a small island with so limited resource that this has been preached for years, but it's just somehow hard to. But as of my little group, we got something good going. So I'm blessed on that part, and yeah, man.
For sure. I mean, especially this trip that we just had in Iowa, the brotherhood that we had just made it bigger, you know, and the connections even more stronger, you know, with Professor Eddie, you know, the Ness head coach, which is Riley's head coach, you know, and B Ness, you know, Ness Nutrition. Give him a shout out if you guys, you know, want to get some good food in and some.
What does he do?
He's a nutritionist.
Oh God.
Yeah, for the fight game.
Nice.
You know, weight like he nutritionist, weight cutting, you know, reloading the body after the process. You know, hand wrapper, all around guy. He's trying to evolve, you know, as on a different level of the game. So that guy is. Big shout out to him too.
Wow. Ness Nutrition. Shout out to him. We
got some underground ninjas here on Maui doing you know, perfecting all of our crafts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. And so cool. You know, just strengthening that brotherhood that we had in Iowa. You know, it just made it that much stronger. And you know, just attest to what Riley was saying. You know, when we take out the politics and we take all that, you know, I mean, the bond is, you know, is great. We could accomplish anything if we all had that same mindset here in Maui. You know, I can't really speak for everyone in Maui, and I can't really say everything that for anywhere else. But you know, that's the reality of it, is that there is politics, and people do have opinions about certain things that create that segregation. You know, oh, you know, you can't train here or you can't train here, and nobody is specific, right? Not saying anybody does that, but there is. You know, if you're in a fight scene, you know, there's politics in it, and it's just the hardest part. You know, there's no growth there. We can't grow as a Maui as a team. You know, we have so much talent, like Riley was saying. You know, all these ninjas that's great at their craft, but everybody's kind of just doing their own thing instead of us all working together. Imagine, you know, how much talent we could push out from Maui alone. Other than that, it's coming. You know, we're just talking about that side of it, but there's a lot of great things about the fight game. You know, again, the brotherhood we was talking about, and sisterhood also, all the girls in the apartment. You know, nobody's left out, but just that. You know, there's so many positives to it, and we could go on all day about it, but. That's great. You know, there's pros and cons, but we would love to see that unity in Maui. That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah. And like, speaking of all the positives, like, how did you guys get into Muay Thai and MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, all that you guys do?
Oh, I was like, mine's pretty easy.
I'm
not a professional fighter. I started working out at the gym Maui. That's and at the time there was a Muay Thai school based out of there, Horizon Muay Thai, which is where Marv was the junior coach for, under Brian Crespin. He was the owner. So I had been going to the gym for a couple years, and it was a pretty cool setup. It was the upstairs cardio room just had railings, and you could overlook down onto the mats. And I remember just seeing, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, that just looks so cool. And I was scrappy growing up, so it was just kind of in my nature. I was just drawn to it, and so I actually approached Marv one day in the gym. walked up to him because he looked nicer.
You look nicer.
He looked nice, yeah. Like some of the other
I'll
people
take
are
it.
just.
Hey,
I
there you go.
I'll
Shout
take
out.
it.
Shout out. By the way, congratulations on getting engaged.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
congratulations.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Yeah.
4
Jeez.
years later. Yeah, so fast forward 4 years later, here we are. But that's how. Yeah, I just approached him because his demeanor, his vibe, his energy. It was a kind. So I just was like, I don't know anything about anything. So where do I start? And so I actually started by doing personals with him, and then I got up to doing I think like 3 personals a week before I felt comfortable to join a class setting. And then from there it was just go. And then I was in the intro. And then after like a year or so, I got tested by our head coach at the time. Got tested to get promoted, I guess, to intermediate Muay Thai to get like banded, I guess.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then from there, I got to spar. I got to be part of sparring and all of that. And yeah, and it just kind of it's fun. I love it. And then Marv has branched off and started Boogeyman Muay Thai, and I went with him and followed with him, and now he's got so many clients, he doesn't have time for me.
Busy man.
But it's actually good.
I
That's
like
why
when you say that with a big smile. You're like,
I started training with Vince because I'm so stoked that he's doing his own thing, Vinny.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of interesting that I'm like, hitting him up to train with him, and he's like, you got Marv. Like, I'm like, I can't train with him because half the time. Yeah. And then if I do get a session in, it's like 30 minutes, and we're bickering the whole time. And then I'm not a fun, yeah. And he gets mad because I'm like questioning him, and so he's just like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, this isn't working out. I was like, I need to source out my training. So that's where we're at now, and it's good. I love it. I'm training with Vince twice a week now, so it's cool. We overlap on Thursdays.
that's
so.
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun.
Do you have goals of fighting or anything, or competing?
I've always thought about like competing in just like maybe like a basic smoker or like a man up stand up, which is a Muay Thai based, kickboxing based promotion company in Hawaii. But I mean, I don't have the discipline. I don't, and I can admit that. Like, I like to eat and drink way too much. I'm a bartender. It's hard.
There we go.
I'm a restaurant kid.
Yeah.
I mean, we eat late, we drink late, so it's, yeah. But I get my fix in on my training, and my goals with Vince is that I want to get my cardio, my strength, and just my technique back to where I can go do a light spar. Because I love being part of the team when fighters are in camp and being a body to help. That's what we did when I was with Horizon. Like when our girls would fight, we had fighters there, and when they would be in camp, I would go and I got to be a body, got to help them. It's teamwork makes the dream work on that one, and that's where I want to get back to, because that's where I found my happy place.
That's the happy place.
Yeah, being part of the team in that aspect. That was my contribution.
Wow. That is an amazing feeling too, when you're like training together, someone going to camp. Going to compete, and everyone's just kind of together, putting in rounds. Yeah, it's a beautiful feeling.
You train together, you bleed together, you sweat together. You can't help but want to build that bond and be like, yeah, man, I want to support your dream also. So it's a great feeling, 100%.
It's cool to see, like like when you're in camp too, like everyone just like comes in, like it's just flocks to the nest.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and just comes together to, help this one person succeed, in their dream.
It is gladly appreciated because it is sparse. There's not much, out there. So, like, this camp was amazing. Like, all the help I got, just the energy that was coming my way was, you know what I mean? And the genuine. I don't know that word. It was, it was like,
genuine.
It was just like, it was genuine. Everybody's help,
Just going.
towards my way. So
And Riley's the type of person that people just get drawn to him. He's such a great person. Outside of fighting, he's cool brother to cruise with. Very approachable. You can talk to him. We're just talking stories about it, how much his peers respect him. You know, it's just because he is that person. He's genuine. He's nice. He's not, the guy that he would shun you if you needed help. You know what I mean? Like, and so.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Pretty much most of the time.
Yeah. What you put on is what you get. And so I feel like that's the reason why, more so, why people want to come and help him out and give him that body that he needs, and they want to support his dream too, like myself, Coach Eddie, B. Ness, and everybody that's part of Rye's journey, and that's
Shout
how I
out to
feel.
all of those people, because without
sure.
them, like, definitely this wouldn't, like, me chasing anything wouldn't be possible. So I'm just glad to have all them around me, and we can all just feed off each other and chase the same thing. It's like a priceless thing we're chasing.
No, yeah.
It's crazy.
That's incredible. It's just like, it's just so amazing, because I was talking on the podcast with Vince, how I took a 5-year break from grappling and to focus on this, like the fitness and exercise, and when people were like, dude, you gotta go back to jiu-jitsu, you gotta do something, you gotta go back to something, some sort of like brotherhood or something. I was like, oh man, like, there's something so special about martial arts and combat sports, and just like this is incredible, like getting to share, and people are probably curious, like, where did we start with like Muay Thai and stuff? How did you start?
So I was doing MMA, I guess incorporated from that last question that you had, where my fight journey started. I started training in Yanagida, and there was a few different gyms that I was training at. One was called the Hard Knocks up in Yanagida. I forgot where exactly, and then I started from there because I was getting bullied, like for most people's stories on why they would start fighting or training, I should say. I was getting bullied in school. I was the outsider. I wasn't the guy who was born and raised in Yanagida, and so I was an easy guy to pick on, and me, not just me, but my siblings as well, So I decided to start training, and I thought it was cool, when I was younger. I just thought it was cool, and I learned how to train and defend myself and kick people's butts, and so fast forward, I moved back to Maui. I'm living with my stepmom at the time in Lahaina, and somebody offered me a fight. He said, "Hey, you want to fight?" And I was like, "I'm only 16." And back in those days,
16.
all you needed was a parent's consent, right? And so I'll fight MMA. Why not? And just so happens to be Kendall Grove, at 16. I was 16, and so I came in there with this chip on my shoulder, like, I'm from Yanagida, whatever. I could take anybody on, and one thing led to another. I got my butt whooped really bad, and so humility came in, and that's where I learned the art, the reality of fighting. And so I kept my journey going pretty much in Oahu. I moved back to Oahu, started fighting with a team called God's Army, which just so happened to have Max Holloway there, Kona K, Shaisen Lapola. You had Colin McKenzie, Ben Santiago. So at that time,
that was the team.
They were a big team in Yanagida. I think kickboxing was a little bit more popular than MMA, and so those guys were all kickboxers. You had John Bernard, you had a lot of good fighters, Jonathan Vicente, and all them in that gym. So I trained there, did kickboxing and MMA under them. Moved back to Maui, and then I trained under Yanagida when it first opened, and that's when we had where Sean was saying, you had Justin McCulley, Rude Boy, and Kendall Grove, right? And so it was actually the old Gold's Gym back in the days. That's where it first started, and and so moved to this gym behind
this,
we were there, and then that's when I first met Sean. And so it was I had a long fight journey, and so getting back to that second question, I have a friend. His name is what do you call? I call him my friend, but I don't remember his name. But I had a friend that was training there, and he just won a belt. You know, and then it was the school Horizon Muay Thai was held at UH Muay, and there was a gym facility over there, right? And so I'm so happy, you know, I'm enrolling in school, and I'm like, I'm trying to do this thing again with school, and then boom, so I happen to be walking by, and there's a gym, and I see him, you know, Gerald Castanero, sorry, I had a brain fart, but I see him training. I was like, oh, what is he doing in there? So, you know, I go and ask him, what you doing? He's like, oh yeah, this is where Horizon Muay Thai is. This is where I'm training, and that's where my journey with Horizon Muay Thai started. And this was, I can't even say how long ago, years.
Yeah, I mean, at least a decade.
Yeah.
With Horizon.
With Horizon.
They started there, and then they moved to
Jim Maui in Kia. Yeah. So that's how my journey with Muay Thai started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible for the average listener listening. Like, they're probably wondering what's the difference between like kickboxing and Muay Thai.
Right. So it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different opinion on it, right? So, but Muay Thai is the art of 8 limb. It's Thailand's national sport. So you have your hands, your elbows, your knees, and your feet, right? And so it's practiced and a long history of, you know, martial arts in Thailand. And where kickboxing, that's more Americanized. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was based off of karate. Kickboxing. I don't quote me on it. I could be wrong, right? But that's the difference between the two. Right? It's more Americanized compared to Muay Thai. It has its own culture, its own, you know, identity when it has ties to Thailand. Yeah. So that I would say that's the difference. Wow. So if anybody's asking, that would be my opinion on it.
Wow.
And most kickboxing, you really can't knee or elbow, right?
Yeah. So it depends on the rules. You know, you got
Yeah.
Glory back in the days. You had K1, and the rules changed as it went, you know, to succeed. But in Glory, if I'm not mistaken, you can only clinch for a few seconds, then you have to let go. Where in Muay Thai, you can clinch the whole. Yeah, that's like a big part of the point system, right? Clinching and not moving back, and taking a lot of punishment and giving it back. You know, where in if you was to watch Glory, right, you would see a lot of movement and a lot more Dutch Muay Thai or Dutch kickboxing influence. So a lot of volume in hands and leg kicks, right? And so Henry Hoof is a prime example of that. Tyrone Sprong is a prime example of Dutch Muay Thai or kickboxing, people would like to say. Mike's Gym in Holland. So there's a lot of influence with the Dutch Muay Thai or kickboxing, right? So where Muay Thai, you would have, you know, WCK or other Muay Thai events that would be more clinching and elbowing and knees and things like that. Yeah.
Wow. And that was like, when did that all start? Like in the 70s, 80s?
What exactly, the Muay Thai?
Or like kickboxing?
I couldn't say. I couldn't put a date on it. I know that it was definitely a big thing in America for sure. Kickboxing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so for the people listening, when they see MMA, they're probably wondering like, what is going on in that cage? Like, what are they doing? What are they even throwing? What when they grab each other? What's happening? When they're on the ground, what's happening? How would you guys explain like because it is an art, the art of mixed martial arts, and how would you guys explain that to somebody who maybe seen it here and there or just kind of knows about it?
They gotta ask the professional.
Yeah, Bradley, what would you say?
It's a combination of you know, each martial art is what MMA is. You know, it's blending the arts together. So you use your boxing, your kickboxing, your Muay Thai, wrestling, your jiu-jitsu. It's meant to be blended together. That's what you see. You know, you see boxing combinations followed into takedowns. You see scrambles on the ground, jiu-jitsu scrambles. It's just it's a
Mix of things.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
that's
mix of
basically the
things.
name, you know.
Yeah.
Mixed martial arts, and so.
and yeah, you can be chaotic with it, or you could be really, I don't know. It's just it's a mix of things, you know.
Mm-hmm. Hence the name Perfect Storm.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Exactly.
And so how did you start in your MMA journey? Was it striking first?
So for me, this goes back, you know, growing up, playing football, wrestling. You know,
wrestling.
That's my base. Wrestling's my base. So that's where I started.
Is that bowling?
I actually started like freestyle with like Central. I can't even remember what we were called. It was Central, and then we went over to Muay Blue, and then I went into like high school wrestling. But I only wrestled freshman and sophomore year, and then I took a break, and then it wasn't until like senior year where I started like training in a friend's garage, doing MMA stuff, kind of, you know, just we didn't really know what we were doing, but we're trying to blend everything together because it was new back then, you know. But from there I ended up in a boxing gym. Well, actually I ended up in a grappling gym first. Travis Pennington Impact Zone was located on Lower Main, so we would grapple there, and then from there we kind of went over to the boxing gym. So we were kind of started to combine, and then that's when Kendall kind of had his success, and he opened up a gym. And for me, there's a lot to go into, but it's kind of how I got into MMA. Just, you know, and as a kid, just loving all the Bruce Lee movies and just wanting to perform in front of people. Like that's what I felt that I could do, you know, like express myself. That's how I feel I can express myself, you know, with fighting, you know. It's like just raw. It's just real, you know. There's no crap in it.
Yeah.
But
wow.
But yeah, that's kind of where I started, and then I'm still here today. Just had my 20th pro fight, and
that's incredible.
And we're still embracing this journey and growing from it, you know.
You know, the name Travis Pennington popped up. He was actually our neighbor.
Oh, nice.
And I remember, I must have been in high school, and I remember seeing him. I was like, what are they doing, rolling around on the ground with geese? Like, what are they doing? I saw them like choking each other, sweeping each other. I'm like, what are they doing? And this was right out of their house, just right up the road.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had a big green mat. Open space. You know, back then there wasn't much. I mean, I think there's Muay Jiu-Jitsu like Louis Stem.
Yeah.
Maybe MGA, Muay Grappling Academy. Is that Keith?
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, that's where I ended up with Travis, and you know, a lot of no-gi stuff, but. Yeah, it was good training, you know, back in the day, you know, so many different bodies, and everybody was into it, you know, and MMA was just like getting big here in Hawaii, so that was a time to be alive, man.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
There's a lot going on at that time too.
Yeah,
a lot of good gyms. I mean,
a lot of promotions up and up, Destiny, X1. There was a lot of, you know,
Icon at the time.
Yeah,
too, I think
Icon.
was.
Oh, Icon was MMA?
Yeah, Icon was MMA. I think Icon became X1, or it was Super Brawl, Icon, then X1, or something like that. I don't know the order, but yeah, I think Icon was here in Hawaii,
yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It was there, so. And there was a lot of fight events going on. And I mean, I remember growing up in Oahu, just, you know, being at a fight event every week. You know, they would hold kickboxing events down at the Dole Cannery like every week. They would be fighting every week. One of the boys stayed fighting. So it was pretty.
It's been some years, man.
Yeah.
My God.
9, 19,
20,
12, 13 years,
was
man.
pumping out, yeah.
Damn.
It was pumping out. There's a lot. Yeah,
Time flies.
Yeah. I was very fortunate to be able to fight on cards with Rilley, with Masu. You know, with Tiani Vale, you know, a lot of the fighters that are
Max Holloway, fought on cards with that guy.
Yeah.
You know, that guy went on it. Once he started, he just never stopped. He just still tearing people's
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, man.
That's incredible. Just thinking about the whole thing and the fight scene in Hawaii and
It's definitely gotten much bigger. But yeah,
It's
back to
10
your
years,
original
yeah.
question. That MMA is just a mix of all the martial arts in one, and it's very, very new. You know what I mean? So now you're getting guys that are strong, that have technique, that have cardio, that have now you're getting these guys that are just well rounded. Before maybe one guy's skilled in striking, one guy a grappler, but nowadays everyone's good everywhere, and it's just a blend of all the arts, and it's just in its infancy still. So it's kind of what MMA is, for the average listener out there.
dang.
A lot of dedication.
It is.
And like I have like just this much time for Muay Thai just to do that.
It
But
is,
then
man.
you have to, do your jiu-jitsu practice and your wrestling or, your striking, your boxing, and then have time to, eat in
And
between.
then make sure,
cardio.
then you got to worry about like weight classes and stuff. So
Oh.
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into it, and I don't want to just start rambling on about things. So
Speaking about that though, people are probably wondering like, what did the schedule look like? Like training every
well, this past camp,
Yeah.
I knew about this fight for 5 weeks. So for 4 weeks straight, we're training 2 to 3 times a day, Monday through Saturday, resting on Sunday, maybe going for a run. You know what I mean? And in between that, that's like also making sure just strict diet. You know what I mean? Logging everything, counting everything, cooking your own food. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what it takes. You know what I mean? Eat, sleep, and breathe that. Any moment I'm resting. My body, so I can get back up and perform the next day. A lot of sparring rounds, a lot of technical rounds, a lot of everything.
Wow.
It's just chaotic.
It is chaotic.
And then you roll into the fight week, and then you got the last weight you got to get off, and then you got that media stuff you got to deal with, and you got to travel, and then you got to make that weight, and then you got to reload the body, then you got to wait for your main event fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're walking out, and then boom, it's done, and then you're like, wow.
Yeah, and that's not including the emotional, side of it, because it takes a lot on you. It takes a toll. More, I would feel, my opinion, that it would take more of a toll on the person emotionally and mentally than physically, right? There's a lot that goes into it than just the physical side. Being there at practice, rolling, fighting, hitting pads, sparring and things like that. There's much more.
Yeah, and then life. There's life also. Like I'm a dad. I have a daughter. Luckily right now I get to train full time. You know what I mean? I don't need to really work on job right now, but in the past I've full days of work doing tile. I worked at the hotel. There's just, like he said, there's just so much that goes into it, and people must just think I'm crazy, you know what I mean? But I am somewhat crazy, but that's what fuels me to live, you know what I mean? And I know I'm not gonna do it forever, but in the short window that I have, I'm living it, man. And just you gotta live life, take risks. Sometimes it's not the way you want it to go, and you do get down and it sucks, man. But you gotta pick yourself back up and keep going, because you don't know where this journey is gonna take me, us. Just gotta be that open book to just keep writing, keep going.
Wow. Exactly. And
Yeah.
what he was saying too, it outside of him having to be this fighter, he has to have that responsibility of being a dad, and, a brother, a husband, and still balance all of that. And so, for the most part, people just see the end result. They don't see all the behind the scenes stuff and the sacrifices he's making and things like that. So, as a fighter, again, people just see the glory or the glamorous side of things. They don't see that side of the sacrifices that he has to make, and again, it's much more than physical. It's emotional and mental. Like he was talking about that week of the fight, he's malnourished, he's cutting weight, was this 20 pounds that his last one, and then still having to focus on trying to focus on the game plan, trying to focus on, fighting this person, trying to emotionally check himself so he doesn't get too down on himself or too concerned or worried. He has to stay confident, and there's so much involved there. So much mayhem, and he still has to be that professional. And so, like, if we're talking to the listeners out there that don't know nothing about MMA or haven't seen that side of it, that's the perspective, right? It's much more than him just going to the gym and putting work in on the mats and hitting mitts and hitting the bag. He has to balance his whole thing in the background of emotions and mental and, again, being a dad, a father, and all that stuff. So it's not easy. Only fighters know the feeling, right? Only fighters know the feeling, whether you're amateur or pro. They know what comes with the emotions. They know what comes with the sacrifices they have to make to be a fighter. Any real one that sacrifices, these things for a fighter will understand. So that's just elaborating on what he was saying.
Dang, that's incredible. I mean, just
and
going into that.
and the team too. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
All these guys that travel with me, like, they stay away from their loved ones. They're paying the price just as much as I am. So thank you, Boogeyman, for always being by my side. Thank you to Jess for supporting. You know what I mean? It's all a big puzzle, and luckily we get most of the pieces in place.
Yeah.
So we just bless
it. It takes a village.
Yeah.
It takes a village, and just as much. We may not feel that exact emotion that he feels being in the ring, but we get nervous too. We get nervous as coaches, and I'm much more than just a coach to him. I'm his friend.
Yeah,
his
it's
brother.
more than
I don't want to see my brother get hurt.
Brothers,
Yeah. So for me, I can only speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure Coach Eddie and Ness feels this way. But we want to do everything in our power to get him ready, so he doesn't have to go through that. We don't have to see him go through all that pain. And regardless if the result is not the way he wants it to be, we'll still support him. But we try everything. I think that's the incentive, right? Besides us being a coach, right, we have a relationship outside of that. And so we want even more reason to help his dream and more reason for him to succeed. We don't like to see him get hurt. And that's my thought process, so like, Riley is saying, yeah, we make sacrifices because we want to help support his dream, and it's, just like, shout out to Nikki, for, letting Riley, be the person he is, and be able to be the fighter. Same goes with my fiance, a lot of the success, or I wouldn't even say success, I wouldn't even put myself in that category. A lot of the reason why I'm in the position that I'm in is because of my family, or because of the support of my other half, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for them, like Riley trusting me as a coach, being able to be there and teach him and get my opinion on the kickboxing or Muay Thai side of it, and so so shout out to all the people that support their other halves and push out their dreams and sacrifice that, so yeah.
Dang. I just want to acknowledge just all of you guys here, just because man, you guys are so open, you guys are so honest, and just like how you just took that back. You're like, oh, success. No, just the position I'm at. Like, you guys are just so humble. Like, people probably listening are like, man, these are killers, man. Like, it's just so incredible. It's
like
a
I told
beautiful
you earlier
feeling.
too, like martial arts. That's what it teaches. It teaches you to just kind of be humble. Like, swallow your pride. You are really minute to this whole world. At any time things can change. So it's important to remember where you come from and just be grateful. And just being in the gym years after years, you'll it's
for sure.
it gets pounded into.
Yeah. And that's the thing about
I had a chip on my shoulder at times.
But that's the thing about fighting. It will expose you for who you are.
That's why.
You know what I mean? And if you're constantly going through that process of getting pummeled, and you still walk around with your chip on your shoulder, you obviously are in denial. Or you probably just don't know, to your ignorance. But that's what, for a martial artist, that's what it was built for, martial arts, right? Is the humility, right? To be able to be humble, to be submissive in like, I do whatever the hell you want me to do, but in a humble, respectful way, right? When you have a teacher, that says mop the mats, right? I got you, prof, or I got you, crew. I'm gonna go mop it, right? That's humility right there. You don't necessarily always have to get beat up, right? But that teaches you, and that's a great thing about martial arts, right? That if anybody doesn't know, right, it's supposed to teach you humility. That's what it was built for, right? I would assume, right, to teach you to be humble, to know that there's always going to be somebody bigger and stronger than you, right? That there's an art to it, there's a spiritual side, to the whole thing. It's not just I'm gonna punch you in the face, teach me some techniques so I can break boards, right? It's to teach you how to be humble. It's to teach you how to learn, that perspective. There's perspective in life, right? There's always going to be a roadblock or a hurdle that you have to get over. That you mean like, my life is pretty good. I don't have to like fall apart because something came up. So humility, and it's been a big part of my journey. Like I said earlier, when I came and I fought Keanu Rove, I was like, I could take this guy on. My world changed, dramatically, but my humility didn't stop there. It kept going, and it's such a big part of my identity, right? To put things into perspective, that there's always going to be something that would go wrong, but you just got to appreciate the things that you do have, the people that are around you, and I have a whole outlook on life and how I like putting pieces around me, to be able to, when I do fall, right, I have that circle that will be there to support me, because again, humility comes back into play, and it will always find you. You could be at your highest of highs, and all of a sudden the next day realize, like, how the hell did I get down here? Why is things not working out, and why are things not clicking? Because that's life, right? And so I like to ramble.
Bro, that was beautiful, man. That was like
that's what this is about, podcast.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing.
No one too
very casual. It's beautiful. That was beautifully well said.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And one of the last things I want to ask for some people is they're gonna get mad if I don't ask this. Like, for somebody who wants to start MMA, what would be like your couple of advice or lessons or things that you want to share with them from the listening?
Be willing to sacrifice everything. I mean, it's a real selfish sport, so just be willing to sacrifice and just put the work in. I mean, and that's really all it is. That's my advice. If that's what you want.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, be honest with yourself.
Yeah. Honestly.
Are you in the sport, or are you doing this because you want to just have fun doing it, or do you want to be an actual fighter? Because it's much more than just part time. Like with Rilley, even though he's not fighting, he's not fight camp, he still has to make
it's
sure
a
that
lifestyle.
Yeah. There's no really full off season. He still has to keep his toes sharp. There might be a call. Hey, 2 weeks notice, bro. UFC, let's go. He has to be. He can't just be cruising on the beach drinking a Corona and then all of a sudden gets a 2-week call. It's a year-round dedication. And
they say stay ready, so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly,
it's
such a
true.
great
Yes,
saying,
with the
right?
gold nuggets.
And that's my advice. If you're going to become an MMA fighter, be real with yourself. What are you doing it for? Are you just doing it for recreational purposes? It's cool too. That's not wrong, right? But you're not going to be wasting your time. You're not going to make yourself look like a fool, right? At the same time, if you want to be a fighter, right, and this is the passion you want, like Rilley said, there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made. There's be times where you're not going to be able to go out and party with people. You're going to have to stay home, chill, Yeah, man, I like being out with the boys, but this is the life I choose to live, and it always comes down to choices. And so, coming back to what we're saying, right, What are you doing it for? Know it. Be real with
Be
yourself.
real.
Yeah, be real with yourself about it.
That's it, man. God damn.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Wow. Jess, anything you want to chime in there or?
Well, like, I mean, you heard
From watching.
how I got started. I just, it's a lot of courage too to walk through the doors of the place for the first time.
Yeah.
But that's just the first step of many.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's-
one thing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that was one thing because I have a lot of women clients, right? And a lot of the statements that they make is that it's intimidating, right? Going into a gym is intimidating, and so they don't want to be, they don't want to be that person that holds the class back, or I'm not good enough, or like Jess was saying, trying to just even approach a coach it's really intimidating, and so luckily she said that I wasn't coming off that way, which is
This guy was the least intimidating.
Least
one there.
intimidating.
I'll take it,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's, I mean, for me, and why I do it is, you gotta, you have to show up, and, it's a different story than Riley's, the reason why I do it, but it's, it's taking the first step, but it's once you do it, you won't regret it. I'm so happy I did, because I always think about, I'm like, what if I never approached him that day? Would I still be upstairs running on the treadmill looking down at, oh, that looks so cool, It's, the what if. I'm glad I don't have the what if.
You gotta just take that step. Because,
Yeah.
hey, even to the average person listening, me being a professional fighter, 20 fights in, I'd still feel that way walking into, like, new gyms, you know what I mean? I still feel, like, a little nervous, and, it's natural. But that's the first fight right there. Just get in there. And like you said, you just never know what you're walking into. You look what you walked into, like, just good vibes in our gym,
Good
you know?
vibes,
And so, like Jess did, she took that step and then changed her life,
Yeah, changed my life inside and out the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Wow.
just gotta, sometimes you gotta take a risk,
Kind of following
risk,
your
no
gut on
reward,
it too.
yeah.
Follow your heart. Like like even though I'm not like training with Marv, and I've been wanting to train, I've been wanting to get back in it, but nothing ever jumped out at me that I was like, I'm like, oh, they're training, or oh, they got this going on at that gym, or this. But I was like, nothing ever I wasn't like drawn to anything. And so when I saw that Vince started training and was doing, I was just like, it just felt right. It just felt right. And I train with Mariah too. I take her classes. And so I just kind of followed my heart on that one, the good vibes. And it was like without hesitation, I was like, I'm going to hit him up. I want to start training with him. So you just kind of got to, or just, take the jump and just kind of roll the dice and be like, I'm going to go there and start training there. But for me, I just was what felt right, at the time. I approached him because it just, I don't know, it's a woman's intuition.
It's like Bruce Lee said, don't think, feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I go by that a lot,
Yeah.
I go by that with my martial arts career. I try to not think too much on it, even though I'm a thinker and a brainer, but I try to feel most of the time, even like in training, like sometimes they'll ask me, hey, what are you, you ask me, and I'm like, you gotta go back and kind of tell me, because in the process of me, I'm just feeling, so yeah, just
in a nutshell, that's what I was trying to say.
There you go.
don't think about it, just go for it.
Yeah.
Go
And it's
for it.
okay. It's okay to go and take chances, and if it doesn't work out for you, go to another gym. Don't be so hard on yourself where it's like, oh, well, I already would commit. Sometimes it just doesn't work,
Exactly.
right? And just go to another gym, and if it works for you, great. Just try them out. Why not? And I would encourage people to just go and try it out.
Yeah, 'cause
try
we've
out
seen
gyms.
people
You'll never
evolve,
know
too.
where the journey might take you, right? So you just try it. You
might
never
start
know.
out doing one thing and then evolve into another. Like,
Exactly.
I know plenty of people who have started out, striking, standing up, doing Muay Thai, and then were at a gym that was doing jiu-jitsu and started rolling around, and they found their passion in that. So it's it's just one thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, leads
Just
to
never know
another.
where that
You
journey
never
takes
know.
you.
Mhm.
That's the exciting thing about martial arts. It's just like,
Wow.
you just don't know where it's gonna take you.
That's incredible. Humility, courage, and then just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Take the risk, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is just such a fun episode. Like, we could talk forever.
All day, man.
Because it's just so
All
it's just
day,
so
man.
natural. It's just feels like we're just sitting, hanging out, talking story, and
For sure.
you know, thank you guys for coming on. And is there anything that you know you want to share with everybody else listening to this or watching this on YouTube? Or
You know, just follow your dream. You know, follow your dream. You know, I know it's cliche, you know, but you never know where you'll end up if you don't try, right? You'll always, if you don't try, you'll probably just be stuck doing something that you'll probably not like, most likely, you know. So, you know, given my situation and where I'm at today, and not that I'm at, you know, again, super successful or anything, but I am very happy. I'm very happy where I'm at, and, you know, we're happy. You know, my brothers is, you know, we're all just vibing, and that's something that is priceless. You know, if I could make more money, great. You know, in the process, that would just help the whole process, you know, even better. But for the most part, you know, I'm living my dream. I am actually doing this full time. You know, I don't work a 9 to 5, and not knocking all the hard workers and the 9 to 5 workers. Like, props to you guys, because, you know, it's definitely hard. It's not easy, but you know, I'm living my dream. I get to wake up, make my own schedule, you know, meet amazing people in the process. You know, I have pros that I train with that you know, trust in me, you know, and it's an amazing feeling. So live your dream, and don't let anything stop you, man. Just try. You never know. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. Live your dream.
Live the dream.
And hit up Boogeyman Muay Thai for some one-on-one training, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Shout
out to
He's
Chad.
the first ever that I know of as a mobile trainer, so he'll come to you wherever you at.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Hit him up.
Yeah, thank you. Shout out to Chad. He gave me the name Boogeyman. So shout out to you.
Well, and then where can we find you guys? We'll put it in the links too.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I'll have all my information. Boogeyman, Boogeyman Muay Thai. Boogeyman Muay Thai. That's where you can find me. You can find me on my social media, Instagram and Facebook.
Nice.
I'll have all my information on there.
Nice.
The Nest.
You can, if you guys interested in training jiu-jitsu, definitely Instagram at the Nest Maui. They got a page, and hit them up. My personal page is just at Rilley Dutro. Feel free to hit me up, ask me questions, whatever. I post here and there, and yeah, that's about it for my part. Thank you everybody for listening, and
Yeah,
it's a
appreciate
good
you
time.
guys.
And Jesse, you got any final?
Yeah.
No.
Close it off, Jess.
Take it away.
Take it away, Jess. Drop the mic.
It's kind of hard having 3 people.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Juggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
It's,
thank you.
and this just shows like what we were talking about earlier about how things just kind of like unravel and happen, because I just so happened to start training with Vince, and then we started overlapping on Thursdays, and then I talked about him, and Vince talked about him, and then you and Riley,
And with the
it's,
Nest.
you know, and then
with
here we are.
Vince, and then with, this. Oh my gosh.
Here we are.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's
Beautiful.
just that kind of is woven through of what we've been talking through. So yeah, very cool. Thank you for having us.
Oh, yeah, thank you guys so much for
Appreciate it.
coming on,
That
and
was
you know,
awesome.
on your Friday afternoons, and
Mhm.
so
What better way to close out a Friday?
yeah, good way to close the week. So, yeah, if you guys like this episode, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Check them out on social media. All right, see you guys in the next episode.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yes, huh?